introduce yourself. Okay, we're live. Welcome back to True Trust and Trajectory with your girl Shakim B. Today I have a very exciting guest. I've been waiting for you, girl.
Thank you.
Jasmine, can you introduce yourself to the audience for me?
Of course, I'm Yasmin Schubert. I'm a remote work coach and I travel and live as a digital nomad. And good morning from my side.
Hey, I love that. Okay, so the first things first. I was very excited to have you on my podcast because I feel like you break and define, you redefine just what it is to be a woman in general. And then you're also like, if you look in the definition in the dictionary of like live your best life, your picture would be right there. Do you
Well,
know
thank you
that?
for
Like,
that.
you know that though. You know that.
Oh,
Can you just go into a little bit, tell my viewers a little bit about you and kind of like introduce yourself because you're
yeah, so
hella
I'm
beautiful.
originally, yeah, I'm originally from Germany. And I don't know, but in Germany we have this 1 year after we finish our school where we usually volunteer or we travel or study abroad for a year. And this is what I did. I did au pair work for a year in China. Realized I don't like that, so I started working in China instead. Had to go back to finish my education in Germany, and but I had the spark was ignited in order to travel and explore.
Yeah.
And yeah, after COVID, it just got even stronger, and then I started to work also as a digital nomad by first through Europe to keep in the same time zone, and now I'm in Southeast Asia. And I've done all tons of remote work in terms of I started working from home, then hybrid version, then a bit of freelancing. Well, everyone, I think, during COVID, we had the possibility work from home again, and yeah, everything.
Yo, this episode's gonna be so bomb. Um, I love you, Jasmine. So, can you just what is au pair? I know what it is, but for anybody that doesn't know, like what au pair is, can you just kind of like,
Oh yeah, this is especially you do this when you're like in your 20s mostly, is where you get the opportunity to live with a family in exchange for support at home, like helping with the kids, helping in the house. Yeah, but yeah, usually you with the kids, and there are different agencies that help you to do that. You have to be verified, of course. You can't just live at somebody's house and take care of the children. But yeah, it's a great opportunity because usually you work like 4 hours a day, and the rest of the day is yours. Often you also have to learn the language. They provide you with the language school, and yeah, it's amazing to really explore life in a different country.
that is so dope. So how many different languages do you know?
Well, I do speak two nicely, which is English and German. And then I did have to study Chinese because I studied there again for 5 years, 4 or 5 years. So I have a proficient level of Chinese, which right now is a good conversational level if I practice again. And yeah, with my partner speaks Spanish and Italian, so I picked up some of that. But
She said
that's
we
more
need a
listening and
first love.
speaking.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so let me ask you because you kind of like briefly talked about how the structure is the German structure. So just taking that year off, what made you decide instead of just kind of like doing what everybody else or what was expected, what incited you to kind of like go the other way?
Go the other way. Well, first, my decision was to go to China
Okay.
because I did not want to go to America or the UK to improve my English. because
Mm.
my thinking was, oh, Chinese is pretty used, so to speak. It's a totally different culture. Of course, I was influenced also by the anime and manga culture, so I wanted to go to Asia. And we usually do this in Germany. A lot of people, they don't want to study right away after they finish their high school because they feel like this is the moment before you start developing your career, because usually you study, you find a job, you work, you don't have the opportunity again to just take off a year and travel. So this is the perfect moment. And yeah, I didn't want to work in the office, and I wasn't sure at that moment what I want to study. I had some ideas. There's a family business that I was involved in. And at that moment, I was still struggling. Am I going to follow this? What's expected kind of from me, from my parents? Or am I going to try to do my own thing?
Yeah.
And yeah.
So, kind of like venturing off in that facet, like, were you nervous? Were there other people that you kind of like followed after, or were you like one in a million?
I was the one. Like my family, I have 5 sisters. Funny enough, none of them really like to travel. So I was always the one that was a bit more explorative. I think it helped that in Germany we also had a language exchange where for 2 weeks I went to the UK. So I knew I could do it. So but I think I overestimated myself a bit too, going all the way to China with different culture, everything. I remember the first week where I was actually there. I was
Mhm.
crying, I was overwhelmed, the culture, the food, everything was different. I don't know if you know, but the first time if you go like immerse yourself so strongly in a different culture, you are most likely to get sick with all the food, different bacteria your body isn't used to.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was quite the culture shock, but I
Yeah.
made it.
So, how long did it take you to kind of like surpass that?
Overall, everything to really be comfy was like half a year.
Okay, that's relatively quick though. That's pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, I reached out to people quickly. I found another au pair.
Mm.
Um, I found a different job. I had a different community around me, and it helps you so much to cope with all the challenges when you're capable of connecting with others, keeping that positivity going. Yeah, because in the reality, you could be as miserable as in your home country if you
Yeah,
just isolate yourself. So in a way, it kind of also helped me to push myself out there. I was really shy, really quiet when I was back in Germany, and had a low self-esteem. And traveling to this different country, the different culture, forced me to get out of there, because I knew if I was just gonna suffer and continue to be in this victim mindset, I would stay there. I wouldn't change. So I pushed through it.
that takes a lot of like strength and like it takes a lot of strength to be able to like relocate from one area to
Yeah.
another. And you jumped like from one familiarity to like a whole different culture. So can you just walk the audience through like what was that like for you and kind of like having to submerge yourself in a whole different type of culture, and how did it impact you or your outlook?
So there were a lot of moments where when you're this overwhelmed, because
Mhm,
the language is different, the food is different, the people you are used to don't surround you anymore.
mhm,
So you can get frustrated sometimes because there's a language barrier. They just do things differently than you are used to. There's It's not gonna change. It's You get humble though. You become more humble because you realize it's not right or wrong. There is no one way to do things. So you become more patient, because just being frustrated all the time, angry with people around you for not speaking your language,
yeah,
it's not gonna work. So if anything, you learn a lot about yourself, about your comfort zone, about your values in terms of what am I really comfortable with and what do I actually want, what makes me happy, what do I need around me, and that can look different for anyone else, and it takes time.
Yeah.
Be patient with yourself, because you're not going to wake up one morning and say, now I have this figured out, I'm in there. There's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, um, just in life. Like if you have a nice life at home, it's the same. If you have a new job, you can have the highs and lows. You can be overwhelmed with the new tech language or terms, professional expertise that you need. So it's a different kind of skills that you develop. So I definitely am more adaptable, more resilient, patient, able to cope with stress in a different way. In a way, you also learn you're gonna survive. If you make it through that, you know you can do nearly everything.
So going from Germany to Asia,
Mhm.
do you feel like with having to adapt to like, and I feel like it's more than just the culture, right? It's kind of like the overall mindset collectively from the culture. I
Mm.
hate just saying like a cultural jump because I feel like there's so much that is encompassed in that, right? So like mindset wise, how do you feel like that change has impacted, or what value do you think, or do you feel like it has added to you, like as far as mindset or perspective, like when you first started versus where you're at now?
Mm, so in the Chinese culture, especially, the people are more humble, or
Mm.
they show more. Like if you're in a business setting or at university, for example, when you accept a gift or somebody pays for your dinner or your meal, you fight. You are like, no, no, I thank you so much. So you have this whole cultural thing of rejecting a gift before you actually are accepting it. So there's a different
Here.
protocol of doing things in China, yeah, or in Asia culture, many Asian cultures.
Mm.
So you can look at it with, oh wow, this is fun, this is interesting, this is actually a great way to show that you're grateful by
Mm.
having this dance. Or you can go the other way and can say, this is frustrating, why don't you just accept my gift, why don't you just let me pay for the meal, like what's going on, what are you really saying here, do you really want me to pay, or are you just playing the game of I can't accept this. So
Mm.
there's different nuances, and I feel like it helped me to be more sensitive to these different layers,
Mm.
because even like you can't now say like every Chinese person is gonna do that or every Chinese person is gonna be like that. But having this strong contrast made me aware of the different levels that every human has. Like even us, right? Talking to you, I don't know what you've been through. I don't know how you were raised. What is your surrounding? So there's a different set of eyes that you get, like, and you get more curious. You're trying to explore what is this person's motivation. Like how
Mm.
can we align here? Like how can I understand her? This is interesting. Like what drives her? And I definitely learned that over in Asia.
You're tingling my heart right now, and I don't know why. I felt like I had to say that. That once the one statement that you made about, having to justify like good work done, right?
Mm,
I don't know like if German culture is somewhat similar to like the United States, but also like I see like with people that are very genuine about and intentional and deliberate with the way that they show up for other people, right? They don't necessarily want anything in return because it is their honor and
mm,
privilege to be able to do this. This is their way of giving back to their community or whatever, right? But then on the
mm,
flip side of the token, then we have like capitalism. So it's like, with heavily societies that are heavily capitalism influenced, it's like we expect what we pay for, right? So if
Mm.
you're paying only a little bit, you're expecting like shitty service. I'm
Yeah.
just from experience. So it makes you look at things in like a different light. I feel like it's more of like appreciation. Like I appreciate it, and I haven't even experienced that from over there. But that's the type of
Mhm.
person that I am, But over here, there's it's a different type of programming. So like,
Yeah.
are there similarities in Germany as far as like what I'm kind of like conveying with that?
Um, Trying to think of an example, but yeah, you can have both. I feel like in Germany, you can have this moment of, I give you something, but
Mm,
I'm expecting something in return for this. I'm not
mm,
just doing this from the kindness of my heart. But in
mm,
different contexts, there's also when people just generally want to help. I feel especially the elderly in the south of Germany,
yes.
they really have this. I just want to invite you in, eat my food. I want to share. I just want to learn. I want to hear your story, and that can be very beautiful.
No, it definitely is. Like for me personally, because I'm like literally, I think just the way that I naturally am, not like what I've been constructed or the way that I've been constructed to operate in this environment, right? Is like, hey, if I do something, it's literally because like it's my honor to do that, right?
Hmm.
We're all born and equipped with these set of skills to be able to give back to the collective. Like that's what I think, but to
Yeah.
be able to give it, so that's beautiful. Like it literally sounds like um the way that culture operates, it's not just for self, it's not for the ego, it's not for capitalism. It's literally like, I guess one could like analyze and be like, hey, it's like egotistical, right? But I feel like there are bad and good sides to egotistical. That is a good side because it focuses more on how can I give back to
Hmm.
the people
Exactly.
that are around me
Beautiful.
naturally. So I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, so in traveling, right? I have
Hmm.
multiple questions. I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to not go on a tangent.
Go for it.
Um,
I'm here for you.
so I guess as a woman, right? I'll start here. As a woman coming from your particular background and culture, and going off on this venture, what are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned um, as a result?
Um, so first of all, I'm also traveling with my partner, so I'm not a solo traveler, just to avoid misunderstandings. Um,
I love that
but
for you, Jasmine.
thank you. But yeah, you learn a lot. It can be frustrating as a woman sometimes, immersion in different cultures. So it can be fun though, in terms of, so when I go out with my partner, even on the street or whatnot, I get invisible sometimes. In various cultures, apparently I don't exist. They talk to my partner, even if I'm the one speaking the language, even if I'm the one interacting with someone, they look to my partner to reply to him. Like, well, I'm just talking to you. Like, what's going on here? That can be interesting. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it's just exhausting. And it can also be scary sometimes, of course. Like, I'm not 24/7 with my partner. I also explore by myself, do day trips, meet other people, and then being alone on the streets in different countries that I've been.
Mm,
You get a different sense of safety. Um, I from Germany, I feel relatively safe. I wouldn't do the common issues, like I wouldn't go out in the middle of the night alone, but I think in many countries you wouldn't do that. But there are also countries, especially in the poorer areas, where you wouldn't go out, or there are sometimes areas in we've been in the Philippines in Asia, whereas as a white woman, I would not go out alone in certain areas because of that, because you represent a different picture for people. You represent wealth. You are an opportunity. This kind of things. So, but I think that happens in many countries. You have to be careful. You have to be aware of where you are. You can't just go to the slums with, I don't know, all your jewelry or something and expect people to love you for nothing. Like, who are you? What did you do to them? So you can disturb people as well. Not only as a woman or as a tourist. If you
Just in
go, you're very
general.
excited about the
Mm,
way they live, and then you kind of want to barge into their house or something, which is a funny idea if you think about it. But I've seen people do that. They think they're here to explore, they're tourists, and they ignore that there are people that are living here, and then they just behave like everything is possible to them.
yeah.
It's
It's
insane.
when you say that, it makes me think of like you never know like what you represent to someone else, right? Am I
Mm,
am I correct in saying that?
yeah,
It's just based on like and I guess this can go as far as like cultural um just many different ways. Like,
anywhere,
you
yeah,
don't know like what your presence being in someone else's vicinity necessarily represents um in any given territory because you don't know what
yeah,
stories they've kind of grown up on and just seeing you that's yeah,
exactly.
that's rough. It is that it's definitely rough. um but you're aware.
Yeah, you have to be aware of that. It can be beautiful. I've seen children being amazed looking at me and being like, whoa, trying to say hi. I've seen children getting very scared of me. So, and it's the same with other people in the Asian culture. Like in China, I had, when I was a student, people sometimes welcomed me with open arms. They try to talk, they try to have whole conversations while I couldn't speak a word. And then I had people not speaking to me because I was a foreigner. So, but
Yeah.
this happens everywhere.
So do you think like as time progresses on and like more of you start to duplicate because we are many just saying. But as more of you duplicate, do you feel like that will gradually change the culture shock from other people? Because I feel like everybody, like what I was saying before, you don't know what you represent to someone else, right? You
Mhm.
go into someone else's culture, you don't know like whatever backstories are being told prior to your arrival, right? But everything is subject to change. So, like, who's to say those same stories that were told probably like 2 years prior, they're subject to change. So, someone could experience you and tell a completely different dynamic and then it changes. Like, how often are you optimistic towards that? And if you are, why?
I like to believe that with traveling and with this exchange that we can, with a positive mindset, learn from each other and get that kindness, um, and improve in terms of as we are traveling, like especially me as a digital nomad. You can't go in countries and believe you are it. You're the better person here. So if you go to a country, in any country, even as a tourist, and think you are better than them, no,
Yeah.
because you can learn from everyone as they can learn from you. But there is Like what I tried to explain kind of in the beginning, there are different ways of doing something, and the way there are different ways of being. So I like to believe by breaching those limits and getting to know each other, we can raise this awareness and just be curious, be understanding, and be gentle.
Yes.
But of course, there's also the risk, because there are digital nomads that do party in different countries. They go there to, yes, to work, but also to party. And what they do is basically just having an extended long stay vacation, and they don't leave a good impression for us, like for others. They ruin the prices and different, they just interrupt the economy, because people try to rent, especially to digital nomads, so the rent is getting raised. um yeah, so there's positive and negative, and I hope it's gonna go more to the positive, because I like to believe, the good stuff in the world. But yeah, there's a different reality also behind that.
I can feel your good intention. Like I don't know what it is, but I definitely feel it. And you're absolutely right. I think that I'm yet to be able to venture to a different country, but I would imagine like that is the most pivotal part, right? Is to be able to hold space for someone else's space, right? Without trying to assume
Mm.
or supersede your own beliefs on them, right? Because ultimately, like you're there to learn something. And I think it's so beautiful because just the things that you're sharing about the culture is it's so amazing. So let me ask you, like, with your travel experience, what has been your greatest achievement or success when it comes to traveling? Whether it's like culturally something that you've learned and been able to give back.
So I think there are two things.
Mm,
One thing is in the personal development area, the routines you develop.
mm,
Like, because you learn more about yourself, as I mentioned before, so you get to figure out, what do I need for a nice day? How am I more productive? And do I need a bottle of water next to me, or do I just need a coffee every now and then? Like, so this developed for me, and this is a piece of me now that I got to learn in the last 1-2 years, and that I'm taking everywhere I go. So that's a huge achievement. I really love that. And the second thing I like to do, which is opening a lot of doors and is just an amazing experience, is volunteering in the countries where I go.
mm,
Because we have me and my partner is a photographer and videographer. We have a unique set of skills,
mm,
so we can give to animal shelters, orphanage, human trafficking organizations. We can give back. We can come there. We say, we have this to offer. How can we support you? And this often opens us a lot of doors. And we get to spend a few days or something with helping people, just by doing something simple for free. Sometimes we get a meal or the drive to the place. And that's just, I love that.
yes, man, you can make me cry. That's amazing. I didn't know you were such a humanitarian. Damn it. I love that. So you had mentioned, and I'm not going to get too far into it, but you mentioned human trafficking. Like when you embarked on this journey, did you know all of the things that you were going to like
No.
start, or was it just kind of like God or the universe just kind of like pulled you
Yeah.
here? You okay?
Yeah, this is also the beauty of traveling, because you don't know what's out there, the good and the bad. But if you have this open mind, and if you explore yourself, you raise your awareness about, what am I looking for in life, what do I want to know more of, and opportunities just develop. it's like networking. You know, when you meet people, you don't know what's coming out of it, but they may introduce you to something you never heard of it before, and it just makes you so much richer.
I love that so much. So and moving forward, what is your objective? And I want to get into, I feel like it's probably a question that a lot of people um probably have, as far as when you just decide to like take on a completely nomadic way of life. The number one question is, how am I going to make this possible financially, right? And you did mention it kind of earlier, but not really. So I did want to dive into that a little bit.
So first of all, it strongly depends on your lifestyle.
Mm,
If you need the best accommodation with everything, with a
mm,
pool, with the mini bar, it's gonna be expensive.
yeah,
If you are okay to live a low standard, you can also just go to a hostel
mm,
and share accommodations. Um, Overall, for me, I feel like I'm in the middle.
mm.
It is possible for me. I think it's cheaper than living in Germany, actually, because there are ways to do this to find accommodations.
To travel is cheaper.
Yes, than living in Germany. Because when you book Airbnbs, for example, for more than 26, 28 days,
Mm,
you get a certain percentage off. So often you can save up to 50%. And then you have to consider that it includes the water, electricity, not in all places. Be aware of that when you check the Airbnb things. But you can save a lot of money by renting cheaper. And if you travel with a partner, of course, you can split the bills. Then it depends on how often do you eat outside. I still cook for myself also because I'm vegetarian, and it's sometimes not so easy to find good food outside. But it also makes it cheaper. You can go to supermarkets. It's actually fun. Like one of the first thing I always do when they um, are in a new country, I spend half a day at least to explore supermarkets and find out what is like understand the prices and figure out what do they have here. Sometimes you have fruit, you look at it like vegetable fruit. What is it? How am I supposed to eat it? Like, are you supposed to eat it? Like, what's going on? That's funny, and it can save money, of course.
mm.
Um, and I would recommend have some savings, but I would also recommend you to have savings when you are living in your home country. Just saying, like don't live from paycheck to paycheck. That can be very stressful.
Impossible. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, yeah, it's not easy. I understand that, but I recommend that if you can,
She's
you
like, if
know,
you can, go for it.
like save the money. Like even if you are not planning to travel, you can also live paycheck to paycheck in a different country.
Mm,
Personally, that would make me very uneasy, but it's
mm,
possible. I've met people doing that. They even don't have work in terms of they go wherever and then they find work there. They find where the place where they stay. They ask if they can help out with something, and you would be amazed the creativity people come up with, like doing the social media management for a small holiday in a village of Vietnam in exchange for food and accommodation, and then they can live
Listen,
there.
I'll do a TikTok video for some food.
Yeah. So it's basically you set your own limits in
Okay.
everything, and the financial things. If
Mm,
you already think, oh yeah, of course she can do it because da 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 da, that's on you.
mm,
Because yes, of course, I can find a million things why I was able to do have this lifestyle, and
mm,
I can find you also a million things that could have stopped me from choosing this lifestyle. So if you really want to make this possible, you can find your ways. And I'm actually also a coach for people that want to start this life, and this is the first thing we work on. Like, why do you want this, and why are you not doing this? And you're missing the H there.
Did I do it right? I did it wrong.
The Schubert. I'm
Hold
missing
on.
the H after the C. But yeah, it's up to you. And the first thing is we work on why do you want this and what's stopping you. And the things that people usually are stopping them is they keep comparing themselves to others. Like giving on social media, you have a lot of digital nomads saying, "Oh yeah, I'm having this amazing life. I'm making millions." It's the same with the advertisement to see how to make 10K in a month. Um, and people compare themselves to that. And then of course, you're not gonna start making 10K month the first time you're out there. Like people are struggling. I'm struggling at times of looking for opportunities to figure out how to live this life. But that's normal and that's part of the way. And it's up to you to face that. It's up for you to take over the accountability, the responsibility, and make that life happen in every area, be it with the digital nomad lifestyle or being with the work you're doing right now.
Yeah.
You decide and you create that. Just how aware are you that you are doing that? And how aware are you how your negativity that often we've been trained to avoid disappointment is holding you back?
Mm. So in closing this episode, if it's one thing that you can attribute to the audience or give back to just for anybody that might be kind of apprehensive on starting their nomadic journey, even if they don't know necessarily why, but they just feel called to do it, what would that be?
So if you want to get started with that lifestyle, what I would recommend you to do is sit down with yourself and answer yourself some questions. Answer this why you want to do this. Answer the what you have, the skill sets that the job you're doing right now is providing you. Answer yourself what is the life you want you to create. Like I said, do you want to be here, or do you are you fine with going at the limit?
Yeah.
And then figure out the difference and figure out what do I need. Like what is really stopping me? Do I need different skills? Do I want savings? Do I need to figure out where I would like to go first?
Mm,
And then I would actually recommend, after you did all of this, develop your skill, work on your CV. Basically, your make your CV remote work compatible,
mm,
and then start small. You don't have to go to China for a year right away. You can already start. Go to the country next door. Go to the city next door
mm,
for more than a weekend, and you're gonna learn so much about yourself already there. And just have this awareness and ask yourself, what is this doing with me? What did I learn now? This I've been a week now in a different city.
mm.
I didn't like the food. How much did this bother me? And yeah, so this is basically what I do with clients. Push them out there, raise this awareness, and then learn and give you some tips at hands about what possibilities are actually out there.
Absolutely. And I think there are a large amount of viewers where um, venturing outside of their comfort zone is so not impossible, but in their minds, right? It's impossible because a lot of people view it like me for instance. Instance, I just wanted to go like a couple of states over, like, not to the country, you know. But for some people, I think it's really like the giving up the stability of what they already have, right?
Mm,
Because it's certain, there's no question about it. You know, you're gonna see the same people, you're gonna have the same support systems around you. possibly, right? You know what to expect. But being able to uplift and uproot and replant to a whole different environment, that is different. And if you're kind of more or less like an introverted person, I think that would be more or less more complicated. So what would you say to those people?
One questions.
Yes.
What is what you're doing to yourself, or what are you currently doing? What is that costing you? For me, like I mentioned, I was shy before back in Germany, and I was in this decision: do I follow the family business here already, or do I go out there? And
Mm,
my fear started to grow and become more like, oh, I'm gonna get stuck here. I'm never
yes.
gonna go. Like, if I don't do it now, I'm never gonna do it. I'm just gonna have a boring office job. I'm gonna be one of those people that just talk, 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 and don't do it.
Mm,
I'm never gonna change. I can't get to live that life that I thought I would have when I was a child. I'm
mm,
gonna disappoint my inner younger self.
mm,
Um, and it's not gonna get better if I stay here. There's no guarantee that just staying in one place, yes, you are know what you have. You are familiar with the pain or the discomfort around you, but
mm,
it doesn't change the pain to not pain. Of course, you can work also on that. Not not
mm,
denying that you can change your current circumstances, but I just saw so many more opportunities by being brave and
mm,
by jumping there. And you don't have to be alone anymore with that nowadays. It was a bit different 10 years ago when I started my traveling life. Now there are more communities, and there are coaches like me that really gonna take you by the hand, um, and support you, answer your questions. So it's the internet makes it possible also to find friends before you even get in a new country. So is it really a reason, or is it an excuse you have? So ask yourself, what is what you're currently doing costing
Shots
you?
fired, Jasmine. Is that an excuse or what are we doing?
Yeah.
I love that. No, it that puts everything into like such a great box. Like it's just straightforward and to the point, right? And I think a lot of the times we're often afraid to take that next move or jump forward, right?
Mm,
Even though we feel it internally, just because it's uncertainty around it, right? It goes against everything that we've kind of already known and what we've experienced. So to create new experiences is scary,
yeah.
but you did that. You did. I love that.
Yeah, and I wouldn't go back. It's so much fun at times, and the things you see, like just the other day, because of the lifestyle I have, it was a good day. We wanted to do a day trip. It wasn't possible the day before because it was raining cats and dogs. So I was like, oh, well, toll. Nice. Here goes the plan. But then the other day, we realized, oh, the weather's actually nice. Let's just go. Do we have any meetings? No. Okay. So we went to the Batu Caves. And I don't know if you know that. It's a place in Kuala Lumpur, with temples in the cave, and there are a lot of monkeys running around. So, and this morning, I actually got to feed the monkeys with bananas and have them come at me like, "Where's the food?" So
That's so
that's
funny.
a super cute
Stop. I
experience.
love that. I do. I'm sorry, that would be louder, but I know this is yours. But no, I love that for you. And had you not made the decision to go ahead and just take longer than a year just to see, like something inside of you was calling, like, hey, there's more than just this, and it takes a lot, like that takes a lot of bravery and
Hmm.
trust in yourself. Like, fuck everything else, sorry. Um,
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But you have to have like a certain level of trust within, like, hey, like we're gonna be good regardless. So it
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, and it doesn't happen overnight. Like this is
Yeah,
also something that I try to convey. Of course, there can be key moments that make you change or make you change stronger. But be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself. It's okay to be scared.
yeah,
It's gonna be a new experience. It's gonna be scary. it's supposed to be scary because you're growing.
yeah.
But if it's more scary than it's fun, no,
That's a
just be gentle.
yeah.
I stopped trips because I got scared of the environment. I was alone. I was uncomfortable. There were too many people around. I was in Hong Kong, and I left. I went back home to my dorm back in the day and play video games for a few days. And I was like, that's okay. Maybe I missed a few days of opportunities, but at that moment, I listened to what my body told me. Like, nah, this is scary. We don't want to be here. We don't want to do that. And no, like nobody's forcing you. At some point, you're grown up. You get to do what you want.
And that is that part. And you just said something, it made me think of intuition, right? Because a lot of the times I feel like it's very underrated, as it pertains to like when you have like a feeling and you know like, hey, maybe I should just keep it inside today. Like,
Mm,
or maybe I shouldn't do this. Like you heard that, you felt it, and then you followed it. And I'm
yeah.
grateful because we're talking right now. So
Yes,
it works.
it did. The
Man, I love
universe got
that.
us together.
Yes, ma'am. So, are you planning on doing more travel, or are you kind of just
Yes.
like, yeah, okay. You don't have to
Yeah.
give up too much tea. Like, I'm not gonna dig. But if you want to,
Yeah, it's gonna be like I said, right now Southeast Asia, so it's still gonna be Malaysia, then it's gonna be Japan, and then maybe South America. Never been there. It's gonna be a new kind of scary for me too.
come to New York, okay? Like,
Yeah.
we can hang out.
I'm pretty sure it's
We can
gonna
hang
happen.
out. I swear. But Malaysia, that's exciting.
Mm,
Is that so? Is
super.
that's not that's part of Asia, but it's like
Mhm.
on the brink, like it's like in the middle,
Mm.
right? Okay,
Yeah.
that's exciting. Is there anything like you're excited or anticipating when you get there?
So I'm gonna be on an island next, so
Okay,
I hope it's gonna be a more of a jungle feeling. So more
nice.
beaches, more jungle. So I'm looking forward to that a bit. Right now it's the rainy season,
Okay,
so I'm not. Well, it's the end of the rainy season,
just
so
waiting on that
there's
for
still
now.
some
She's like, when y'all
time.
get done with your nonsense, like I'll gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next time we speak, I hope to like learn more about Malaysian culture. I gotta live vicariously through all of my like
Keep you updated.
I
And follow
love
my
that.
Instagram. I post about my travels.
I gotta check it out. I have to check it out. Anyways. But this has been a very informative video episode. I feel like the strength, the bravery, and the courage that you are actively displaying um, should be taken and noted by many. Like it should. It's not an easy thing. Like we still know full
Mm.
blown adults that haven't moved out of their parents' houses. you know. So there's a lot to be said about that. And I feel like you put a lot of things in perspective as far as like being very self-aware, very intentional, and also trusting yourself, which all you demonstrated. And I appreciate you so much for making time to be here today to share that. Um, all of your journeys, I really want to have you back on my podcast again.
I
So
appreciate you so
I
much for having you. Make it so easy with your exciting, with your curiosity. I love that.
I love that. Um, Jazz, is there any other way that you would want the audience to reach out to you or be able to connect with you?
Well, first way is always through the website yasminschubert.com,
Okay.
and then from there you can also go find my social medias. My remote work coach is how you find me on Instagram, where I post some tips on how to get started, on how to work in this remote work lifestyle, how to stay productive, all this kind of things. So if you're curious about that, find me at remote work coach, everything written together on Instagram. And yeah, so website also has some blog articles. You can skim around and just shoot me a message in any way that works for you. You can find all the links, all the information there. Just bomb me, tell me your story, ask me your question. I love that.
I love that. You're so freaking brave and bold. Like, I just love your whole entire existence. I swear. And to my audience, I really want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight, for taking away some value from this video. Please make sure you leave me a comment, leave Jasmine a comment. Let us know what your
Thank
biggest
you.
takeaway from this episode is. What are some of the things that you're currently battling to fight against and just go ahead and do? What are you putting off at this current moment? As always, you guys, please make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on all of the new content. And until next time, okay, bye.
Bye.